This could be you if you carry on watching. Diseased by spoilers.
So, going to be doing a little rundown on my thoughts on A Year in the Life. Gonna keep it pretty chill, you know, low stress. No one freak out. We're just doing a little rundown. There's no need to get excited. I think my main takeaway from A Year in the Life is that primarily Slay, you know, it's really cool to be back in Stars Hollow, see all the characters again. That is my main feeling upon entering Stars Hollow again, is just like, whoa, we're back, baby. We're so back. I will say my main complaint of it is that it feels quite different to the original. So in a sense, it doesn't feel fully like you're getting back into the place, getting back to that nostalgic vibe, because of that disconnect. I would say the main thing that makes it feel different is how lengthy the scenes are and just how long each of the mini film things are. I think because they did have that, like, what is it, like an hour and a half per episode? Like, that is way too long, in my opinion, for the content that are in each of those episodes / mini films, whatever you want to call them. I appreciate the story. I appreciate that Amy's back, which is so cool, but they're just too long, which is unfortunate, because I think if you had pretty much the same content, maybe adjusted slightly, but just in like maybe like a 40-minute or a 45-minute episode instead, like closer to the original episode lengths, then they would just do so much better, in my opinion. And yeah, I think a really good example of them having like unnecessarily long scenes is the scene of the Stars Hollow play thing. Because I was watching that and literally just like being like, okay, so it's gonna end now. Like, the scene's gonna be over now. And then it wasn't. And every time I thought like, okay, the scene's gonna end now, like they've done the joke, it's over, it just kept on going. And it kept on going. And I don't know how long that scene was, but it felt like at least 10 minutes. But yeah, it was just weird because they had like some good jokes in there, but it was just so unnecessary to show like what felt like most of the play, and then like have all of the reactions and stuff. Like, it was just like the same kind of joke on repeat, and I was just like, when is this gonna end? Like, I get it, like it's fun, but come on. Anyway, me talking about this scene is almost as long as the scene, so I'm gonna stop now. But you get what I mean. Also, a very minor detail, but like to me felt like significant, was the Frickin font. That font was so dumb. Like, the font at the beginning of each episode being like summer, fall, spring, etc. Like, it was so bad. I think because isn't the first episode summer? I think they did that font in like the original Gilmore Girls font, and when I saw that I was like, okay, we're back.
So I've got this all wrong, but what I should have said is that in every episode, in the cast credits that show up at the beginning of the episode, they have that in the original Gilmore Girls font.
They just had this like really tacky, like word art-esque font, and I'm just like, you cannot convince me that they did not have the budget to splash out on some nice font. Come on now. Like,
also, just from such a brief look on YouTube at Gilmore Girls A Year in the Life intro, it comes up with so many fan-made intros for A Year in the Life, and most of them had the original font and Where You Lead by Carole King in it, so it's very obvious like what the fans would have wanted.
And it's a minor detail, but the fact that it's a minor detail kind of makes me more like, what the hell about it, because I'm like, it was so easy to make it right and they got it wrong, and I'm just like, come on now. I mean, I'm stating my opinion as objective fact, they got it wrong. That's not necessarily true, but I feel like they got it wrong, is what I'm saying. I just think that the font was pretty dumb, is what I'll say. And another fairly minor point, but again, so easy to get right, was The fact that in the summer episode they just sprinkled in some fatphobia, that was very uncool. I think they did it twice throughout the episode, but it was like the same joke basically of this same guy, where Lorelai and Rory are sat in their little like lounges, and then they're like, "Oh my god, that I can't remember what his name is, but like, oh my god, that guy's coming again," and then they're both like, and like throwing up basically, and it's just like, it's just so stupid. Like, what is? I know the original series has the R slur in it more times than you can count, but you'd feel like they would have moved past the whole making horrific mistakes like that. You'd think we'd move past that. Yeah, I think. Hello? Can you shut up? Shut up. I think another complaint of mine is that I think a lot of the, well, not a lot, but a fair few of the characters felt quite like different to me, like they were played quite differently. I think there were some characters that were done like really well and felt really true to the original show, and I think weirdly, well, not weirdly, but like one of the characters that stood out for me the most in terms of that was Taylor. I felt like Taylor was played like so similarly to original Taylor from the original show, which makes sense because his character is kind of like, he's just always the same, he's not gonna like change. He's kind of reliable in that sense, so it makes sense that he's not changed. And I do think that my complaint about the show in this sense like does have a fault in that maybe the characters have changed because time has passed and therefore, you know, the characters have changed. But I do think that in the scenarios that I'm specifically talking about, it does just feel like they've not been played quite correctly, or they've not been like written very well. And I think one of the main examples of that is Rory. I think she just comes across as very like wooden and like, I don't know, like there's not much to her in A Year in the Life. And even when she is like, when she's in the Gazette and she's like freaking out and talking to Jess and being like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, like even then when she's like put emotion into the situation, she's put emotion into the scene, it still comes off as like really wooden and like there's not much to it. So I think that was kind of unfortunate to see. But also, if she's being wooden and kind of flat, maybe that's what many years of adultery gets you. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe it's intentional. As much as some actors did fall quite flat for me and didn't feel like they had much to them, there were other actors and other scenes that had like so much about them and like just had so much raw emotion in them. And I think the Luke and Lorelai thing shenanigan was like a really good example of that. When of course Lorelai goes away and then she comes back and then Luke is like trying to fight for her and be like, I'm not going anywhere, like no one's ever going to be more here for you than I am, I understand you, I get you, I'm here, I'm not leaving, nothing is ever going to make me want to leave, I'll never think about leaving. And then she's like, we should get married, we waited too long. And it's just so it's so good. And I don't know, you can just feel their relationship in that episode and how much it's transformed and grown and aged like fine wine. That might be a controversial statement, that might be me going too crazy on it, but it's just, yeah, it kind of proves to you that their relationship and their characters are ones that you can rely on, as much as they do have their ups and downs. Like, this is it, man. They are together and they're not going anywhere. And that's like really comforting as like someone who's been watching for a long time to have that. So that's very cool. And just a quick final point. People are gay now. People are allowed to be gay. People have always been gay in Stars Hollow and Gilmore Girls in general. Michelle is a very good example of that. But, you know, they're here, they're queer, and we love that. We love that that's happening. It shouldn't have to, you know, we shouldn't have to wait for A Year in the Life for that to be the case, but I'm happy it's the case in any sense. Also, big thumbs down to no Stars Hollow pride, because there aren't enough gays in Stars Hollow. That's pretty rough. I don't believe that, but whatever. They could do a mini gay pride. This is That's as if you're saying that, like, the gays in Stars Hollow, even though there aren't that many of them, they don't deserve a pride. That's not true. Give them a pride. Give them what the people want. Come on, guys. Anyway, those are my thoughts on A Year in the Life. Take it or leave it. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. See you later.